Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining the award-winning To Hell and Back podcast sponsored by Old Zoological Bar and Kingfisher. And those are the perfect places to go in a few weeks when Hull Fair starts, as they're really close to Walton Street. So definitely head over to Old Zoological Bar for some burgers and Kingfisher for fish and chips. We put a post out earlier saying that the prices will be the same throughout Hull Fair. And tonight we have another opposition preview with Aaron of Argyle Life. So if he can work out how to unmute himself, we can get into a discussion about Plymouth. Good evening, Aaron. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm very well. As I was telling you off air, I'm freshly back from the gym. I don't look like I go to the gym. I've had a very quick shower and I'm very warm, shall we say. But yeah, apart from that, good. Yeah.
Good. Well, those are very high standards because, of course, on a podcast, I couldn't get the smell there. It's not smell-o-vision, as I said. So that's excellent. So Plymouth Argyle haven't been in the championship since I think the Peter Halmoshi days in around 2007 or 8. So how does it feel to be supporting a championship club after many years?
No, it's a bit later than that. I think we went down in the 2009-2010 season. So some credit. No, but yeah, it's been a whirlwind. It's been a roller coaster. All the different words and phrases, the cliche, shall we say, that you could use from being rock bottom of League Two and surviving by the skin of our teeth and bouncing back the way we have. It's absolutely mad. So to be back in the Championship is incredible. And yeah, I wouldn't have had the journey any other way. Say that now that we're back. Yeah. At the time I would have, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's the sort of trend at the moment because I talked to a Coventry City fan and they've had a very good few years under Mike Robbins up from League Two. Was that day when you stayed up that time when Scunthorpe went down because the keeper couldn't throw the ball out in time and you scored when he was on the floor?
That was from
another year, perhaps.
Oh, I'm really bad at history. You've asked the wrong person. I think that's when we went down from League One, yeah, because we went down with Scunthorpe. We both went down. They sent us down by that bit of foul play, shall we say. And we've gone in different directions since then. I think actually that relegation actually helps solidify us and sort ourselves out and to bounce back. So you could say I've done us a favour. You know, I don't want to pour scorn on any Scunthorpe fans at the moment. They're going through a bit of a tough time, but yeah, safe to say we've gone in different directions.
Okay, so generally, how long has Stephen Schumacher been the Plymouth manager? And because has he taken you up from League Two, or has it just been the last few years?
No, he took over from Ryan Lowe. So Ryan Lowe took us up from League Two, and then Stephen Schumacher, his assistant, jumped in. Oh God, I can't remember when. I want to say November, 2 years ago. Yeah, history.
So the promotion season last year was all him, was it?
Was all him. Was all Schumacher. You know, there were remnants from the Lowe era, but you know, tweaks and changes and changes in personnel and recruitment, and definitely had Schumacher's stamp all over it. So yes, Lowe up from League Two, Schumacher up from League One.
Yeah. So generally, would you say Plymouth fans are in favour of him? Because I don't see why.
Well, when you win League One or any league with 101 points, it's kind of hard to be against your manager. Yeah, I would say that we are 99.9% recurring in favour of Stephen Schumacher. Absolute hero. And, you know, if he keeps us up, which, you know, at the moment is looking likely, we're only 7 games in, let's not get carried away. It's looking good. Yeah, then he's welcome to further his career wherever he wants with the blessing of everyone, I imagine. But the way it's going, he could do it with us.
So what's been the key to Plymouth's success in the last season and is it 8 games now?
I think it's, again, to use another cliche, it's sort of like a siege, not a siege mentality, but like just everyone pulling in the right direction on and off the pitch. It's not been, we've not had, well, we do, you know, when you count Mumba and Whittaker and stuff, we don't really have like the best players in any division at any point, but like they're just like just everybody pulling in the right direction. So on and off the pitch, like, you know, that starts from the boardroom all the way down to, you know, down to the big kit men and the data analysis and everything else. Like everybody just pulling in the same direction, all having the same goals. yeah, that unity like just goes a long way, doesn't it? Like we've never had the biggest budget in any league. We would have been the top end of the budgets in League Two, but even then not the top. And yeah, it's just how we just pull in the right direction, everybody at the same time. So that, if that is an answer to the question that I can't remember you asked.
Well, I think that's really important to any sort of EFL club below perhaps the parachute payment teams, because they can buy the best players, whereas below that you really need to have that togetherness. And I mean, Hull City fans, we're hoping that we've got the togetherness and the quality to have a good season. But I think, just
and the budget.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not short of cash. But still not, not one of the biggest budgets, but still not short of cash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Plymouth promoted, of course. You're saying that staying up is that just the main target, just to stay up and then perhaps build on that?
For me, yeah. Stay the right side of the dotted line. I think some fans might have higher expectations in the way it's going. I've not even looked at the table. I'm not doing that yet. I think we're 11th, maybe. Could be lower.
I think 12th, possibly, but something like that.
Somewhere around there, that will do. And as long as we're the right side of that dotted line, come what may, I'm happy personally. And we'll build on that. It's been season on season progress so far, so why change that now? But yeah, if we do somehow manage to finish 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, whatever, obviously delighted. I'm not going to say no to that. But for me, just the right side of the dotted line, please.
Yeah, I think it's really important to, sort of build and you've got some exciting young players, as you've mentioned a few of them there. We had that first season after we got promoted where we didn't have the big budget yet. And then, so it's just staying up. I think we finished 19th, but, and then even last year, Rossini came in and sort of just made us hard to beat and stay up. So that is very important. So really, let's look at some of the transfers you've made. So you've mentioned, is it Ballymumba from Norwich? So what's been your summer window so far? Or it's completed now, but what did you need, and did you feel like the club got what they needed over the summer?
Yes and no. Like, there was a bit of a not a meltdown, but a bit of discussion towards the end of the window that we didn't get in a striker. But we brought in Mustafa Bundu in the last minute, and he's played 3 minutes of Championship football and already has an assist and looks absolutely massive and rapid. And but apart from that, we got everything else we needed. I think we recruited the best players from last season that we had on loan. So we got Ballymumba and Morgan Whittaker both in for £1 million, which are absolute steals. Got the first hat-trick at Home Park in the league game since 2006 on Saturday.
Wow.
Which is mad. He is a phenomenal talent. Ballymumba, as we've already mentioned, a north-east lad, came through South Shields, then Sunderland, off to Norwich, then to us. £1 million, which for us is huge, but in this market is pennies for a man of his talents.
And I suppose if they're young players, they'll perhaps be able to be worth a lot more quite soon.
Yeah, hopefully. But I'm not thinking about selling them anytime soon. Let's put it that way. Finn Azaz back on loan. Who else did we sign? Kane Kessler-Hayden, another Villa loanee. Looks a good pickup so far. He's had he had a shaky game against Bristol on Tuesday, but who didn't? So we'll cut him some slack there for the way we bounce back. Who else did we bring in?
Well, I do have a question about one player. I'm very surprised this hasn't been in the media quite a lot, because I think the coup of signing Hazard, that's amazing. But why is he in goal? What's the thought process there?
Yeah, I've not actually heard that joke yet, so that's impressive. I'll give you that one.
Thank you.
Conor Hazard, Northern Ireland international, should be getting minutes ahead of Bailey Peacock-Farrell, let's be honest, for Northern Ireland, the way they capitulated recently, but is what it is. If he's not playing, he's not getting injured, which is perfect. He came in from Celtic for a reported, let's say, 200,000, somewhere around that mark. Might have been more, might have been less, who knows. He's big. He's a big lad. He's what you want in a keeper, and the fact that he's massive. Huge. He's had his doubts. He's not Michael Cooper, let's be honest, but game by game, he is slowly but surely turning into a very dependable, let's not say, dependable goalkeeper who, I think he's going to force Cooper into getting his place back if he continues on this progression. You know, he dropped a couple of clangers. Even when we beat Huddersfield 3-1 on the opening day, he basically gifted them their goal. He's not the most commanding of his 6-yard area, let's be honest, but he's still a good addition. Like, I'm not going to do the lad down, especially when we're doing so well. Not great against Bristol City, but like I said, nobody was. So cutting some slack there. Who else we got in? Julio Pleguezelo, a centre back, left-sided centre back in a back three, which we reverted back to now. Turned down European football with Twente to come to us. So some pickup again. A few, let's say 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Like shaky moments at times, but he's against Norwich he was brilliant as well. They're just all slowly finding their feet, and hopefully they can find them up in Hull. So
and is Luke Cundle another on loan from Wolves?
I can't believe I forgot Luke Cundle. He scored 3 already. 2 worldies, like incredible finishes. One against Palace, the other one against Orient, and scored 1 on Saturday. But who didn't score on Saturday, to be honest?
Norwich really not enough anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Cundle's a good pickup. It was at Swansea last season. He contributed quite a few of our the most amount of minutes that have been playing in the Championship, or some stat I can't really remember off the top of my head. I'm not very good at remembering things, which is ideal. I normally ask.
I've got me notes.
Yeah, I should have written some of those. Good lad, brought in on loan for Wolves, was at Swansea last season. Has Championship experience and looks to be building on that. Again, just they're all slowly finding their feet, and it's like clicking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could have asked it a little bit earlier, but Ipswich have been sort of tipped to be in the playoffs by a lot of people, and you finished above Ipswich. So do you think that perhaps, maybe with some additions in January, and once these younger players find their feet, that perhaps you could sort of push on a bit higher? So I was just thinking, I don't know why Ipswich have been rated so well.
Yeah, not bothered by that. Their budget is a lot higher than ours, which is fine. Now that we're separated, they can do what they want to do. Not going to compare ourselves to them. We went under the radar a lot last season. A lot of people wrote us off, despite being top for quite a while. Most of it. There was a period towards the end of the season where Wednesday had a few games in hand. They crumbled. We didn't, to be honest. We had a few big defeats. We kept going under the radar, absolutely fine by us. Keep plodding along. Being Argyle, being underappreciated and underthought of, and that's absolutely fine. Because if that keeps us up, and that we can build a long-term plan on that, absolutely fine. Will we go out and spend loads in January? Can't imagine so. We just don't have the budget until next season when this additional Sky money kicks in. But then everybody's got the same money, so we're going to be playing inflated prices again. So it's that money only helps us cherry pick from Leagues 1 and 2. Really, let's be honest. So. We're not going to go out and spend loads of money. We don't have it. We're going to spend wisely, and we're going to try and pick up a few bargains along the way.
Yeah, fair enough. I had a really good question and I sort of lost it, but I guess, well, explain how you beat Norwich, because I think that's the sort of main thing City fans will be looking at, that they beat Norwich 6-2. So was it a case of you were really good or Norwich were really bad, or just what happened? Because that seemed like a shock result.
Yeah, it shocked us all. I can't say that anybody saw it coming, especially when you take into consideration Tuesday, which I've already mentioned a few times. We got beat 4-1 by Bristol City. We did make 7 changes, and we did rest our quote-unquote big hitters, who all came back, and we reverted back to the back 5, back 3, back 3-4. 2-1, not really sure what it is. It's more of a 3 at the back than a 5 at the back, but I call it back 5. We reverted to that, which obviously won us 101 points in the League 1 last season. Everybody seemed to just fit into the roles that they'd been playing all of last season. Everybody just seemed to emerge again. Finn Azaz played out of his skin. Bally Mumba was an absolute terror. Morgan Whittaker got a hat-trick, like I said, the first one at home park in a league game since 2006. Yeah, everything just clicked. I mean, we switched off a bit for the 2 that they conceded, but, you know, when you're 5-0 up, you're going to, like, let's be honest, it's just human nature. Just absolutely phenomenal, everyone. Jordan Houghton's been outstanding all season. Adam Randall's been, he had for me, his best game in an Argyle shirt on Saturday. It was just a case of the first 5-10 minutes, Norwich looked threatening, and I was a bit nervous, but beyond that, we just upped the game, and we just kept turning the screw, and it was just goal after goal after goal. I don't know if you've seen any of the goals. Finn Azaz's goal, he sends. It's either Ben Gibson or Shane Duffy. I'm not really looking at them, to be honest. I'm too busy mesmerised by Finn Azaz's feet. Sends them to the shops. Angus Gunn, he was okay. Just had to pick the ball out of the net 6 times. So absolutely phenomenal. There's a really good thread on a Norwich fan did a really good thread analysing how we managed to get 6s. It's much more in depth than I could ever imagine. But it was a case of everybody turning up, everybody playing out their skin, being phenomenal, and just reverting back to that back 3, back 5, and won us 101 points last season.
Yeah, so we were talking about this before the episode started, that City have drawn 3 at home in a row, whereas away from home Plymouth aren't quite as good because you've not won yet away. So is that a situation that perhaps it's going to be better for City that we're unbeaten so far and it's a Plymouth away game, or do you think we'll carry that confidence from the Norwich game into this one?
Oh, I hope so. It's not often you win by.
I hope not.
Yeah, obviously, it's not often you score 6 goals. So I'm hoping that if now we've done that, that lifts everyone, and we're bouncing. You know, like the fan base is just through the roof. Obviously, going to be. It's a weird one. We've not been great on the road. We picked up a valuable point away at Watford, and we looked so defensively solid. Like I've never seen an Argyle team look so like just never even thought about conceding. Like just wasn't going to happen. Absolutely phenomenal. That sort of went to pot against a few little individual mistakes and stuff against Preston, against Bristol City. Again,
I saw Pieface was not happy after the Bristol game.
No, not his not our finest game, let's be honest. And luckily that is a shorter away game, I suppose. But those localish 2 hours away ones are the ones that we need to be putting up a fight in, really. But less about that one. We've played well at Preston, didn't really get the win. We played well at Watford, got a point. Played awful at Bristol City. So it depends, really. It depends which team turns up. Now we've reverted to the back 3. Sorry. I can see it. I can just see us getting there. I was just speaking to Ant on our podcast from your parish about how you're very charitable to teams on poor runs.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we can get the win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Argyle win, but you just have to be, don't you? After a 6-2 win, you
have to be positive.
Yeah.
But then we're on a really good run because we've had 7. We're unbeaten in 7, so hopefully we can carry that on. I mean, it would be sort of typical City to give Plymouth their first away win and to break that unbeaten run. But I think, how do you see Plymouth approaching the game? Is it going to be that they're going to sit back with that 5 at the back? Because we tend to struggle at home against teams that sit in a low block. We've had so many draws against teams where we've had about 70% possession and we've just not been able to break them down. So do you think that it will be another sort of Watford performance, or if they go for it with the 6 goals?
Watford as well. We haven't really sat in a low block all season, so we are we play best on the counter. I'm going to be honest, with Mumba, especially now Kane Kessler-Hayden, Mustafa Bundu, Ryan Hardy. Forgot to give Ryan Hardy praise earlier as well, which I always forget to do.
I was going to ask about him.
He's been phenomenal as well. Okay, we'll get onto him then. I see us, we soak up a bit of pressure, but it's not in a low block. It's not, nobody's deceived us as defensive. Even against Watford, we were, we had our fair share of the ball. Yeah, they might have had slightly more. Away at Preston, which I hit them. We were pushing high on them. They counted us. If anything, Bristol City, we still tried to play, even though we were all over the place and we were bad. Yeah, we're not gonna come and sit in a low block. I can't imagine, unless Schumacher's got something up his sleeve. I don't think I've seen I'll do that under Schumacher really at all. So no, we're not gonna sit back and soak up pressure. Norwich did have 69% of the possession on Saturday, which is mad. But again, at no point did I think we were sat too deep, or we still left space in behind for them to try and exploit. They just couldn't. We took a man out of the midfield, and they still got overrun in there. So no idea.
Yeah, Appleton here commenting on Facebook. They're going to get mauled. I mean, I'd quite like that. And another mauling at the MKM, because we've not had one since we beat Sheffield Wednesday. So
you can't really get mauled by Pilgrims. You can get
just
ravished.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we're going to set up a pillage. That's more of a Viking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Colonialise. We'll do that.
Beaten.
That would do.
Just get beaten like any other team. Yeah, we don't all have to have a cringe sort of. It's cringy really to other fans. We enjoy it. I'm really looking forward
to that. As a slight tangent, I've always, I don't know why, I just weirdly liked Hull. I think it's from a 2008, 2009 FIFA career mode on the Wii.
Oh, right.
With, Michael Turner and Caleb Folan, who I can't imagine he's listening to this, but I had a big argument with a guy I went to school with about whether Caleb Folan and Diego Forlan were related. Obviously not.
Probably not. Both fantastic strikers, though, of course, in their day.
Yeah. Some successful more than others. Yeah, and obviously your periods of Giovanni obviously looked out for Halmosi, and just I don't know why. Absolutely no idea why. I just got a soft spot for Hull, and as I was
that was a good time. Good time for us. I think it's 15 years since Giovanni scored his goal at Arsenal, that great worldie, and then we beat Spurs. So in a week's time, it will be that Spurs video. We scored the free kick against them, and we beat.
Nice. They roll it out every year, do they?
Yeah, of course we do. Well, we haven't been in the Premier League that many years, so we've got to sort of repeat the same things,
Content, fair enough. Yeah, so going back to what we talked about, I'm actually looking forward. I'm hoping that we don't see it. I'm actually kind of the weird way looking forward to seeing that mauled by the Tigers.
Or perhaps you go 1-0 down and then you get to turn it around. Of course, we'd like to go 1-0 up and score another 5.
You see it when you're only 1-0 up.
Right, I mean, I guess we don't. I might do it, but usually we wait till 2 or 3 goals, because then it can, come back on us. Yeah, Liam Smith saying it was a golden age in 2009, and then got a few comments about Peter Halmosi. So it is a sort of Halmosi derby. Yeah. So usually on a Sunday, and then whenever I have one of these, I like to do a combined lineup of I think what I think the best City and best Plymouth players. So I haven't included Kundal. I know you said he'd scored 3 goals, but I guess I don't care about how well he does in the League Cup. I'm not including that. So I read it out on Sunday, but as this is sort of a podcast, I will read it out again, and then I'll get your opinion. I think the major thing is that I've not included Mumba, so perhaps that's not really giving Plymouth their fair due. But I've got our keeper, Ryan Alsop, Vinagre, Alfie Jones, Scar, the centre-back who I know scored for Plymouth on Saturday, was it? Christie, Morgan Whittaker, Adama Traore, who scored against Stoke for us, Finn Azaz, Jaden Philogene, and then, up front we've got 2 strikers who've scored 5 goals this season, Aaron Connolly and Ryan Hardy, is it? So what do you think of that? And are there any Plymouth players that perhaps, I'm not aware of that have been, really good this season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you pick this. If you pick this from like who scored ratings or something?
Partly that, partly just if they've scored in the previous game, partly how I've seen them play. Okay, what I'm doing is I do a blog every week, so I want to see. It's based on form as well. If you play well, you get to keep your place in a sense.
I see. Yeah, I mean, there's a few like tactical tweaks I'd make there. 4-4-2 would go right out the window. As well as they've done on the goal scoring charts, I don't think Aaron Connolly and Ryan Hardy would work too well up top. I feel like they'd be the same run.
They both scored lots of goals, so from the lined up perspective, they have to be in it.
yeah, I don't think they would together. Maybe you could you put Connolly in the pivot, but then you'd want like you'd maybe want Finn as in the 10. Yeah, I feel like Morgan Whittaker on the left wing. I suppose
you could have Connolly as a winger. That would work, I think.
Yeah, Morgan is sort of a winger, I suppose. Like that's where you would put him in a FIFA lineup, I suppose. But he's actually he's a phenomenal 10. Like just returning to the 3-5-2.
Yeah. I did think that perhaps there isn't enough defensive cover for the poor centre backs. Even the fullbacks are going to be pushing up, so probably lose about 6-3 that lineup. But I don't really care about whether it's sustainable.
Depends who you're playing. If you're playing like a combined Hull and Huddersfield lineup, we might win. Yeah, I suppose our position matters. Yeah, I cannot believe you've not included Ballymumba.
I've just forgotten about him, to be honest.
That and Ryan Allsop. I don't know how after 2 games. Fair enough, he's got man of the match in both, right? But I don't understand how you've included him. But fair enough if it's over.
It's just because he's played well, and Hazard. Or Hazard, I guess. I'm doing the Belgian sort of accent for it.
Do that if you want. That's what I say.
He's conceded 2 against Norwich. Allsop only conceded 1 against Stoke. So it doesn't really matter. But
fair enough. Yeah. If he was fit and firing, it would be Michael Cooper every day of the week. But yeah, I'll let you have it. I'm basing my knowledge off Ryan Allsop of last season, which maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I think we've done quite well that we've signed a lot of players that have had a lot of sort of either really bad injury records like Adama Traore and Vinagre. Hopefully they can return to their best form, and we're sort of seeing the signs of that for both of them. And then Connolly, Middlesbrough fans hated him, and Cardiff fans said about Allsop that he wasn't very good. So I think that we're trying to get those. We're still spending a lot of money, but we're also trying to sort of rehabilitate players that have had bad times elsewhere and get them back to their best. So I think that's sort of part of the like even Scott Twine was injured last season, so that's sort of what we're trying to get for.
Basically, Scott Twine is something that gives us nightmares. I'll tell you that for nothing. The final day of season before last, he put on an absolute. I think did he get a hat trick or did he get 2? But he put on an absolute. Well, there you go. See, I try and blank it. He absolutely won the show. His free kicks are unreal. I don't know how much game time he's had for yourselves, but just give him more because he's just a phenomenal talent. I'd have loved to have seen him. It was never realistic. It was never going to happen, but I'd have loved to have seen him him come to us on loan. But just a brilliant player, like one of the best that we've seen at Home Park, like individual performance. Just if he gets game, that's I think.
Fortunately for you, I think he's not going to be starting, but perhaps he would. But Traore was playing in that number 10 spot rather than Twine, so I think he might only terrorise you again off the bench. So that might be decent because I know he scored a free kick against Plymouth, but he's not scored for one for us yet. In the comments, it's all kicking off. I think some people arguing with a Leeds fan that's sort of bombed the comments at the moment. And Appleton Zachary Stevens says, I wouldn't swap a single City player for an Argyle player. I mean, maybe, but that's sort of the point of a combined lineup is like you have to. There's no point.
If you're not picking up a Ballymumba or Morgan Whittaker, you're absolutely clueless.
I think winger-wise, Whittaker, I think he's done very well. Well, I mean, we're sort of... we're 4-4-2, but not really. I think on Sunday we played with a number 10 for the first time, but it's all very fluid up front. We have a lot of players like Delap and Connolly are sort of out and out strikers, but everyone else just moves around. Twine, Traore, Connolly, even Delap plays on the wing.
If you're setting up in a 4-4-2, yeah, fair enough. I'll give you that. I mean, we've got wing backs, not full backs. We've got centre backs that are comfortable in a back 3, not. It's already been proven this season not the best in a back 2. I mean, Lewis Gibson, give him some time and he'll be phenomenal. He's already been phenomenal, but I mean, like he'll be one that people are actually looking at. If you're not picking Michael Cooper over Ryan Allsop, then yeah.
Well, that's another thing I do. Cooper's injured, right? So he can't play.
No, I'm just replying to your comment of. You wouldn't pick a single Argyle player over a whole player, which is
Well, I mean, I have done. I would pick probably Mumba if I'd remembered him, and Morgan Whittaker's done very well. But
Yeah,
that's just based on form. I think we have good quality players, and yeah, some nice comments here. We have been missing Tufan, Delap, Twine,
yeah,
and Seri in that lineup, and it still looks quite strong. Of course, there were some
yeah.
Plymouth players. So yeah, so you've already said you're positive that Plymouth can get the 2-1 win. Sort of. Well, what's the lineup for Plymouth going to be? What's that 3-5-2 formation going to be? Do you think?
Hopefully unchanged. It's too soon for Cooper, so it'll be Hazard in goal. The 8'0" keeper, it's absolutely massive. Going from right to left, I can imagine right wing back will most probably be. Oh God, I can't remember which way round these go. Most probably be Joe Edwards again. Centre backs of Dan Scarr, Julio Pleguezelo, and Lewis Gibson. Each one of those are absolutely solid on their day. And then left wing back will be Ballymumba. Going into midfield, a pivot, if you like, of Jordan Houghton and Adam Randall. Adam Randall is a youth academy graduate who is, I think, destined for big things. Other people say that maybe the championship is his level. Given time, I think he is absolute class, and I can see him being picked up by a lower ranked Premier League side in time. He may have missed the boat on that slightly though because of his age. Who else? In front of them will be Finn Azaz and Morgan Whittaker in the 10 role, and then up top the championship's leading goals and assists maker Ryan Hardy.
Yeah, so that sounds like a strong team.
Yeah, I can't see. There might be some changes in the fact that Luke Cundle or Lewis Warrington might get game time, but I just can't see it after the way we played on Saturday. Just keep it the same.
Yeah, you can't change a winning team, especially when they've scored 6 goals, I think. So not quite sure what the City lineup's going to be. I think Tufan and Delap might be in, even though they weren't part of the winning team on Sunday. But we've got so many options, and with the 5 substitutes, they'll all be on the pitch at some point.
The only change you might make is Kane Kessler-Hayder in for Joe Edwards. Joe Edwards is is the elder statesman of the side, shall we say? But he's not the quickest, but his intelligence is better. But Kane Kessler-Hayder might come in for just pace against Villagine. Yeah,
sounds good. Okay, so I mean, you're not going to like this, but I think after we won 3-1 away, I got a bit carried away. We always do our prediction sort of league thing. Right. And basically, my friend Will has predicted 3-0 City win for months until we actually finally do win 3-0. He has to keep predicting 3-0. So I thought he's actually top of the prediction sort of league table we have at the moment. So I thought, well, I'll start playing his game. So I predicted rather than 3-0 City win, 4-0. Double down on it, and that'll be the way to if we keep winning, then I do get some points. So my official prediction was 4-0. That's not really based on anything, especially after Plymouth won 6-2. It's just sort of a hope. I would like us to win 4-0, so just sort of willing it into.
I wouldn't mind a 4-0 win either, to be honest. So yeah.
I'll wait as well. Until you start the match, you are going to win 4-0 every time. It's just in your head. So that was my thought process there. So, Aaron, thank you very much for coming on.
No worries.
You're from Argyle Life on Twitter and all that. So where can people find your content, and what sort of thing do you do for Argyle?
Oh, good question. I barely talk, as you can tell from tonight. I get the others to do that. I just ask them questions because it's a lot easier. We do. So at Argyle Life 1886 is the best place to find us on Twitter. We do a bit of opposition content, not huge amounts. We do a preview pod, which and sort of your parish has jumped on. That'll be live in the morning. So obviously I'll tag you in all of that. That might be a good listen. I don't know. I didn't do our bit. I've not listened to that bit yet. Could be terrible. Who knows?
It'll be great. It'll be great, won't it?
Oh, hopefully. I'm looking forward to enjoying some food at the MKM as well.
Yes,
I've heard that's exceptional. Looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
What else? What was I doing? A tangent again. And then we do a podcast called the Green and White Podcast. I don't know why they've got different names, but they do. So yes, you can find us there. Like I said, we'll post that. Cool. That will go live tomorrow morning. So feel free to listen to that. if you want.
All
Don't
right.
have to.
Yeah, well, I love podcasts, so I might give that a go. I was wondering why it had a different name, but thanks for that plug. I've actually got 2 plugs of my own to do. Usually I don't have any, so sorry, but I'm going to be talking for like 2 minutes here. So firstly, as you can see on my little subheading here, vote in the FCAs. We are again going for the awards at the Football Content Awards 2023. We won bronze last year, and thanks to everyone who's voted and retweeted everything so far. I think voting's still open for a little while, so just head over to the Football Content Awards Voting 2023, and you can find us in the Best Podcast Football League category, and then you just put that box in, and then go to the bottom and select the terms and conditions, and then press vote now. So we'd appreciate it if you could do that. And then also this morning I had a lovely chat with Richard Dexter, who is the head of programs at the local Tigers Trust, a great charity. They showed me around the Tigers Trust arena. So I just thought he showed me their boot room, and currently they are really sort of desperate for donations of adult-sized football boots. So if anyone listening in knows that anyone who's maybe got old football boots, especially adult-sized, because they have the kids ones because of how people can grow out of them and buy the next size. But at the moment, there's a lot of people who perhaps go to the programs and the sessions they put on, but perhaps don't have the access because they can't afford their own expensive football boots. So if you do have any, perhaps donate them to the Tigers Trust, and that would really go a long way to helping a lot of people in the local community. So thanks again, Aaron, for coming on, and thanks to everyone who's been voting so far and commenting, and we'll be back very soon with another thrilling podcast. So goodbye.